Hey Super Truckers, I want to talk about a couple of things today that you should know and consider before you buy a truck. The problem is with this video, and probably just every video I make, I guess, the stuff that I'm gonna tell you may not necessarily going to be the stuff that you would like to hear, but if you hear me out and if you accept those facts, your chances to be successful are going to be so much better. Because remember, 9 out of 10 people that will purchase or lease the truck will fail. So you better listen, and later on, if you want to prove me wrong, at the time when you're gonna hit the ground face down by trying to prove that, being right is not gonna be on your priority list. So it costs nothing. Take a few minutes, listen up, or better off subscribe to the channel, because this is not a soliciting channel. It is true, and truth is not always pleasant, but as long as you're able to accept it, you're gonna be all right. And even if you're not going to be in the best place ever, you're gonna be in a place that's so much better than those other 9 people. So first of all, stop raising the question, what is the lowest per mile that you should accept? It doesn't exist. The lowest you should accept, I don't know, if the load is paying out of the area A going somewhere on the average $1 a mile and you accept 80 cents, you're a dummy. However, if the loads in that area on that day are paying $5 a mile and you're going to accept $2 a mile, you're still a dummy. And the only way to figure this out is not in a truck stop, not talking to the other drivers, but developing the relationship and partnership with a company that you work for and your dispatcher. That will get that, temperature as close to reality as possible. So stop chasing pay per mile. Your settlement, the final number in your bank account, does not depend on how much per mile. It depends how many miles, over how much time, how much per mile, and everything else. So, but how much per mile is not everything. The sooner you get this out of your head, the sooner you're gonna start going in the right direction and your life is going to be better. Now, other misconception, only light loads. If you're gonna haul heavy, you're just going to burn all the fuel in the world. Well, let me tell you, why don't you calculate that fuel when you decide to go empty? Why don't you calculate that fuel when you jam on that, accelerator? Why don't you count your fuel when you neglect your truck? That's what counts. Heavy load, light load. The difference between light and heavy load, if you really do the math, not emotional math, but real mathematics, just pick up the calculator, pick up your phone and calculate. So, for example, if you can run with 30,000 pounds 6.5 miles with a gallon with the same load, same everything, 45,000 pounds. Maybe gonna drop your fuel economy by, I don't know, 0.25 miles. But if that load pays you 25% more than the light load, you're actually making more money. And about trucks breaking down, no. Trucks are not breaking down because of weight. Trucks are breaking down because of neglect. So I suggest stop neglecting the truck. You always want to keep your truck in the best shape possible. First, truck. Second, mortgage. Don't forget that. This is important. Truck is your number one priority. Everything else can hit the ground, and you can still gonna be able to pick it up later on down the road. Once your truck is going to get neglected enough to start consistently failing, there is no way out. So forget about the weight. Focus on being effective and making the money. You know what? If I had to haul 45,000 pounds and I bring home, after all my expenses, $2,500 or $2,700 or $3,000 or even $2,200, going to the areas that I don't like, I'm still better off than hauling light, fighting the system, and ending up with a $500 check. So yes, I proved the point. I didn't go, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, but my check is 500. So who is the loser? Don't forget, your goal is your check. Keep your truck in good shape and make sure that check is no less than $2,400 a week. And let me tell you, unless you work for some really crappy company, just allow your dispatcher to do his job. Don't fight them. Try this out for a week and do everything that you can. Drive at least 6 24-hour days. You're gonna get that paycheck. And I know so many owner-operators that never seen a check like this. When we go to a Mercedes dealership to get a new ML, you know, we calculate when we talk to their wife, like, hey baby, you know, I can make $2,500 a week, so if that payment is only $1,000, you know, it's not a big deal. We can have that Mercedes. Wrong. Because what you can make on theoretical level is not what you are actually making on a practical level. And if you're not willing to listen, understand the business, and get stuff done, even if you have to swallow your pride here and there, you know, again, once you're gonna hit the ground, face down, the pride is not going to be your priority. Just saying. Thing number 3, no, you will not make $1 million by Friday. I can freaking guarantee you that, unless you're super lucky playing lottery. But even then, you are more likely to lose all your money by Friday than to actually win that jackpot. So no, just because you buy a truck means nothing. Anybody can buy a truck. The hell, probably somebody who is dead can buy a truck. It's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have. Just because I have this, let me show you, this little crappy microphone that I'm talking to right now, so you can listen to me, it doesn't mean that I can sing like a Kid Rock. And that means that my life is gonna be a little tiny hell of a lot different than Kid Rock's life. And he's probably gonna make a lot more money than I will, at least for now. It's not over. But just because I have microphone, just like he does not mean I can live like him. But if I'm gonna talk long enough to this little son of a bitch here and get enough attention and show the light to enough people, maybe I can be like a Kid Rock, and maybe, you can be my guest one day. So that's another piece of bad news for you. However, let's not go into all of those just pessimistic things. Being owner-operator can be very, very rewarding. You can go from crap to very decent life in a fairly short amount of time. When you're an owner-operator, your income no longer depends on anybody but you. You run the show. And that funny question that a lot of owner-operators ask, how much money am I gonna make? Man, come on, seriously, just stop. I don't know, because I don't know how much you can run, but I can tell you one thing. If you can run to the maximum extent allowed by law, and you're really gonna partner with the company that you work for, and you're really gonna develop the relationship with a dispatcher that you work for, so he doesn't have to beg you to go to work, because you are on the same team. He knows you have to win, and you know you have to win. That relationship will get you to a so much better place. And that's what matters. This is how the money made in trucking. I remember a long time ago, when I was an owner-operator, after doing some dispatching and this and that, I went back to trucking, got the truck and started driving. And I had this friend, I would take a load. It was a specific season. Don't do what I say right now, because that may not work. It's still gonna work somewhere, somehow, but it's just not gonna work exactly like that, because that was a certain time of a year, certain market, certain situation. So I'm over a weekend, just not to sit all weekend long. I'm taking a load for $1.15 going from North Carolina all the way to Las Vegas, because I knew back then I can get the load from Las Vegas back to Southeast for $2 a mile or close to that. So alright, that's like, North Carolina to Las Vegas, that's like probably a little over 2,000 miles, or 2,000 miles, something like that. So I'm driving there, 2,000 miles, $1.15 a mile, and here I get this phone call from my friend who's also driving. And so let's say 2,000 miles times 115, that's going to be $2,300. That's what I'm doing all weekend long. And he is calling me, and he's taking a load from Chicago to Detroit for like $1,600. That's not even a one-day transit. Do you know how that makes me feel? It just insanity. It's just insanity. But at the end of the day, when everything settles and I swallow my pride that I am in a so much worse situation, how much I make per mile, I'm busting my ass all weekend long for just a tiny bit less than this friend of mine for a one evening type of deal. But then at the end of a week, after doing all this work, going from Carolinas to Vegas, from Vegas back to, let's say, Carolinas, I'm busting my ass. But my check after all that hell is $3,000. His check after all that easy peasy, $500. Our house payment is the same. Our truck payment is the same. The life is the same. Expenses are the same. The family is kind of almost the same. So our expenses and our livelihood is very, very similar. The job that we do is very, very different. And from initial perspective, you may think that sometimes it's difficult to swallow the pride and everything else, because you see that somebody can work so much less to make so much more. But if you cannot see past that one trip, past that one little situation, you're going to suffer. It's gonna be tough. And then the negativity gonna sink in, and then you're gonna start resisting your dispatcher, and then everything is gonna go to hell. And then you're gonna get pissed off, drive empty home from who knows where, how far. At that point, the fuel economy is not gonna be on your list, because you're going to be in that everything go to hell mode. And all for what? For nothing? Just because there is like a huge picture of Mona Lisa, but you only see like a little particle of her eye, and you're not sure if that's a Madonna, if that's maybe Britney Spears, if that's somebody from a Playboy magazine, or some politician maybe. Because you're blind, you don't see the picture. The picture is Mona Lisa. So I don't know. Think about that. That's gold, man. I wish I had this understanding through my years of failure. That's all I gotta say. So think about it, and I'll come back with some more crap for you guys to deal with. Peace out, super truckers.